Hello everyone. How are you? I hope you all done great. Today's lesson is Science subject for Grade 3. Lesson 5. This tutorial prepared by Dawar hawrami for Dr. Mustafa Zalmi Private Basic School. Vocabulary. Salt water. Fresh water. Vocabulary. Salt water. Fresh water. Types of water ecosystems. Water covers more than 75% of Earth's surface. When you look at a globe, you can see that most of this water is in oceans and seas. Oceans and seas contain salt water, or water that has a lot of salt in it. Marshes and a few lakes also have salt water in them. These ecosystems are called saltwater ecosystems. In the investigation you made a model of a freshwater ecosystem. Fresh water is water that has very little salt in it. Lakes, rivers, ponds, streams, and some marshes are freshwater ecosystems. What are two types of water ecosystems? Salt water and fresh water. Salt water and fresh water. Saltwater ecosystems. There are many different saltwater ecosystems because salt water is not the same everywhere. The amount of salt in ocean water is different in different places. Near the surface, rain can make the water less salty. Water is also less salty near shores where fresh water from rivers and streams flows into oceans. But no matter where you are in the ocean, the water has more salt in it than fresh water has. Ocean water that is near shore or at the surface is often warmer than water deep in the ocean. This is because the sun warms the water in these areas. Why might salt water be less salty near shore? Because fresh water from rivers and streams flows into oceans. Because fresh water from rivers and streams flows into oceans. Barnacles are small animals that live out their lives stuck to rocks and other objects. Different kinds of animals and plants live in warm, shallow waters. Ocean ecosystems. The oceans are Earth's largest ecosystems. Because they are so large, many kinds of plants and animals live in them. All these living things are suited to life in salt water. Not all parts of the ocean are the same. The saltiness of the water can be different. Water is deeper in some places than in others. The water temperature also changes from place to place. All these differences, along with how deep into the water the sunlight can reach, affect the kinds of living things that are found in different parts of the ocean. What do all ocean plants and animals have in common? All living things are suited to life in salt water. All living things are suited to life in salt water. Ocean zones. The ocean can be divided into zones. Each zone is defined by how much sunlight it gets. Areas that get the most sunlight usually have the warmest temperatures and more plant and animal life. Areas that receive little sunlight are dark and have few animals and very few plants. They also have very cold water. This underwater kelp forest grows in shallow water. It provides food and shelter for many different fish and other ocean animals. Where water is shallow, sunlight reaches the ocean bottom. The sunlight allows many plants to grow in this zone. Animals that feed on these plants also live here. Farther from shore, sunlight cannot reach the ocean bottom. Plants in this part of the ocean float near the surface where they can get sunlight. Many swimming animals come to the surface to feed. Others feed on the animals that eat the plants. Sunlight cannot reach the floor of the deep ocean. This part of the ocean has almost no plants. Water is very cold here. Because there are very few plants, if there are any at all, the deep ocean also has the fewest animals. Freshwater ecosystems. Not all freshwater ecosystems are the same. The main kinds of freshwater ecosystems include rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds. Many plants and animals live in or around rivers and streams that have moving fresh water. How fast the water moves helps determine what living things can survive in the water. The water in lakes and ponds is still. Lakes are usually larger and have deeper water than ponds. Still, as in an ocean, most plants and animals in a lake or pond live in the shallow water that gets the most sunlight. What are two kinds of freshwater ecosystems? Rivers and lakes. Rivers and lakes. Summary. Water ecosystems may have salt water or fresh water. An ocean is a saltwater ecosystem. Rivers, streams, lakes, and ponds are freshwater ecosystems. Different kinds of plants and animals live in and around these water ecosystems. Review. 1. What are the two kinds of water ecosystems? Name two ways they are different. Salt water and fresh water. Differences are rate of salt and living things. 2. In a pond, where do most of the animals live? Live in shallow water that gets the most sunlight. 3. Which zone of the ocean gets the least amount of sunlight? Bottom of ocean. 4. What would happen to the animals and plants in a saltwater ecosystem if it were flooded by fresh water? Explain your answer. If fresh water flood the salt water, affect the animals and plants that live in salt water. 5. Which is not a freshwater ecosystem? A river. B. Lake. C. Pond. D. Ocean. Correct answer is D. Ocean. Chapter 2. Review and test preparation. Vocabulary review. Use the terms below to complete the sentences 1 through 7. The page numbers and tell you where to look in the chapter if you need help. Environment. Desert. Permanent snow line. Deciduous trees. Evergreen trees. Saltwater. Fresh water. 1. An environment that is very dry is a desert. 2. Leaves remain on evergreen trees all year round. 3. An environment is everything that surrounds a living thing. 4. The water in the ocean is salt water. 5. Snow remains throughout the year above permanent snow line. 6. Rivers and most lakes are freshwater ecosystems. 7. Trees that shed all its leaves in the autumn are deciduous trees. Connect concepts. Write the terms from the word bank where they belong in the concept map. Sunlight. Salt water. Amount of salt. Temperature. 1. An ocean is a wide, saltwater ecosystem. Many living things that live in the ocean are affected by several factors which are 2. Sunlight. That decreases on the ocean surface because of falling rain. 3. Temperature. That is higher on the surface than in the depths of the ocean because of the effect of the sun. 4. Sunlight. Which reaches the top layer of ocean water, but doesn't get to the depths of the ocean. Understanding. Write the letter of the best choice. 1. Rain falls on the desert. A. Every year. B. Once every 5 years. C. In big amounts. D. In very small amounts. Correct answer is D. In very small amounts. 2. What are the two types of water ecosystems? A. Fresh and salt. B. Hot and cold. C. Hot and dry. D. Lighted and dim. Correct answer is A. Fresh and salt. 3. Plants of water ecosystems live. A. At all depths. B. In dark regions. C. In lighted regions. D. On the surface only. Correct answer is C. In lighted regions. 4. Most desert animals become active. A. At daytime. B. At night. C. In summer. D. Throughout the day. Correct answer is B. At night. 5. Where in the mountain environment do we find forests of trees that endure extreme cold? A. In the high regions. B. In the middle regions. C. In the lower regions. D. At the bottom. Correct answer is B. In the middle regions. Answer the following two questions. 6. When do the leaves of deciduous trees fall? Why? In the autumn, because of cold. 7. What do living things in deserts suffer from, that living things in lakes don't? High temperature and little water.